What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. The WWE's new pay-per-view Day 1 is almost upon us as fans wonder who will start 2022 with a win, and perhaps even a championship one at that, and who will get off on the wrong foot. Or while rumors persist that WWE could add matches to the show or find itself forced to make substitutions due to COVID-19 related absences, these are the only matches on the card as of the production of this video. Now join us now as we look at the winners and losers of Day 1. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now the first match will be the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match as the Usos take on the New Day. Now while it looks like the New Day are closing in on the Usos' iron grip on the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the WWE Universe has come to realize that looks can be deceiving when it comes to anyone from the bloodline losing their championships. Jey and Jimmy Uso have upped their tag team game in 2021 thanks to their allegiance to the tribal chief Roman Reigns, showing they can and will do anything to keep the title. At the same time, the New Day are better than ever in the ring, with Xavier Woods sharpening his singles skills in this year's King of the Ring tournament while continuing to excel alongside Kofi Kingston. The feud between the Usos and the New Day has been well booked, with both teams inflicting damage on each other without finding a way to end things. Thus, there's lots of life in this series, so look for the New Day to fall short thanks to more underhanded tactics from the Usos, leading to a final match at the Royal Rumble. Our final prediction: the Usos retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Number 2, The Miz vs Edge. Now the big story going into this match is just how badly it's been booked, something all the more shocking considering Edge reportedly has a large role in building his storylines. The Rated R superstar has been sleepwalking through this storyline, and the WWE has used every tired trope to try and get this over, including Miz claiming Edge is past his prime and the WWE running a wedding vow renewal. Also Edge giving Miz and Maurice a brood bath. Now the only highlight of their storyline has been a surprise appearance from Eric Bischoff. Thankfully, as bad as the build-up has been, the match should be fantastic. Edge's series with Seth Rollins demonstrated the Rated R superstar can keep up with any of today's superstars, and while The Miz is in the same level of worker as Rollins, there's no reason to think that this won't be a Day 1 highlight. This could be a great opportunity for The Miz, as the A-lister has the opportunity to show he's more than an entertaining performer outside the ring, but an entertaining one in the ring. Now we feel certain the WWE is using this match to set up something bigger, i.e. a mixed tag match featuring The Miz and Maurice taking on Edge and Beth Phoenix in a battle of two real-life married couples. And with that in mind, expect to see Maurice cost Edge the match, laying the groundwork for the two teams to collide at the Royal Rumble or even WrestleMania. Now our final prediction: The Miz wins. Next up is the Raw Women's Championship match as champion Becky Lynch takes on Liv Morgan. Now all eyes will be on the Raw Women's Championship match, as it's the biggest match of Liv Morgan's career and will determine whether Morgan is headed back to mid-card mediocrity or finally headed for the main event. And Morgan isn't the WWE's best worker, but her charisma and eclectic style have made her a popular wrestler with fans despite unbearably bad booking. And now Morgan is poised to defeat Becky Lynch and finally become the women's champion, but Liv lovers have to ask, is the WWE ready to take the belt off Becky Lynch? While the WWE seems obsessed with booking big-time Bex as its version of Roman Reigns, a heel who just can't lose. Now the problem is that the WWE needs to build new main event stars in its women's division, and Liv Morgan seems like an excellent candidate, or at least one to give an opportunity to succeed. The problem is that the WWE refuses to do this, and Liv will lose at Day 1, her only hope being a tainted loss that leads to a rematch and subsequent win over Becky Lynch. Our final prediction: Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship. Next up, Drew McIntyre vs Madcap Moss. And we're not going out on a limb when we say this is a match that no one asked for, or that it has the potential to be the sleeper of the night. Nonetheless, the WWE has a reason of putting this match on pay-per-view rather than an episode of SmackDown. As discussed in our Day 1 Rumors video, it looks like the WWE is using Madcap's match with McIntyre to begin a feud between Moss and Happy Corbin. Moss hasn't had much exposure on television and certainly not on pay-per-view, so let's see if he takes advantage of this opportunity. Even though we know the final prediction, Drew McIntyre will win. Next up, the Raw Tag Team Championship match as RKBro take on the Street Profits. Now the Street Profits have shown that they have all the skills they need to become a franchise tag team like the New Day. Quite an honor considering the New Day's longevity as well as Vince McMahon's disdain for most tag teams. However, as rumors continue that the WWE would prefer to use Ford in singles action, it's unknown how much longer fans should expect to see them together. When you factor this in along with RKBro's incredible hot streak, the odds of a Street Profits title win at day 1 are unlikely. And the good news is that the fans can expect a thrilling tag team tussle as RKBro have gelled into one of Raw's best new tag teams in years. I look for RKBro to win the day and retain in a close conflict, but the biggest question in this bout is how the Street Profits will take their loss. A heel turn could be a great direction for the team if the WWE isn't ready to split them up, but at this point there's little news on the WWE's immediate plans for Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. But our final prediction, RKBro retain the Raw Tag Team Championships. Next up, a fatal 4-way match for the WWE Championship as champion Biggie takes on the almighty Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Biggie faces the biggest challenge of his first WWE Championship reign as he puts the belt on the line against 3 former world champions. Every competitor in this match has a good chance of walking away. As first as Biggie, who's shown his Money in the Bank cash-in wasn't a fluke and that he's a worthy champion so far. A second is Kevin Owens, who's been booked strong since turning heel. Add in the fact that KO just signed a new deal with the WWE, and there's no denying that the former Universal Champion could make the most of this opportunity. Third is the almighty Bobby Lashley, whose dominant WWE Championship reign was only ended when he was injured and Biggie cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, the only uncertainty about a Lashley win is the growing tension between him and manager MVP. Also last there's Seth Rollins, who hasn't held a World Championship since losing the Universal Championship to The Fiend at 2019's Crown Jewel. Seth's stellar work as the Monday Night Messiah and the Visionary shows he doesn't need a world title to get over, but we feel he's the ideal candidate for Biggie to chase for the belt going into WrestleMania 38. Now, as fans know, the nature of a fatal 4-way match allows all 4 competitors to look strong regardless of who wins. This should be an action-packed affair thanks to the match being no DQ by default. I expect to see some power-based high spots from Biggie and Bobby Lashley as Seth and Kevin play crash test dummies. However, we feel Rollins will have the last laugh as he steals the win and the title. Rollins' win will provide lots of fresh opponents, and it will also raise the question of whether Kevin Owens continues working with Seth. Our final prediction, Seth Rollins wins the WWE Championship. And finally, the main event as Universal Champion Roman Reigns takes on Brock Lesnar. One of the beautiful things about pro wrestling is that the promoters can revisit past rivalries and make them just as exciting as the original matches, and in some cases even more so. Lesnar vs Reigns is arguably the definitive rivalry in both men's career, much like Ricky Steamboat vs Ric Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin vs The Rock. And it's clear the WWE is hoping to recapture the intensity of Lesnar and Reigns' last battle, capitalizing on Reigns' heel turn, as well as the intriguing scenario of who Paul Heyman is truly aligned with. And the only thing holding this series back is the WWE's insistence on keeping Roman Reigns undefeated until he breaks Brock Lesnar's 504-day record reign as Universal Champion. Now, we pointed out before, the WWE needs to find a clever way of keeping the belt on Reigns at day 1 that doesn't involve his usual and tired tricks such as low blows, outside interference, and ref bumps. A Roman will prevail, keeping the belt, but the WWE is more than Reigns' breaking Lesnar's title reign on the line. If they don't pull this finish off right, its planned rematch for WrestleMania 38 between the two monsters could be an anticlimactic affair. But our final prediction, Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship. But there you have it, folks, all the winners and losers of WWE Day 1. What are your guys' predictions? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.